this. I put a poll out today, and it was close, but people the telling some prison stories won, so I'm going to tell some prison stories. I am going to have another channel that has this stuff on it. Oh, wow, that is bright, isn't it? You got to have it on, though. I don't know why it's like that. It's shining bright like that. But anyway, sorry, y'all. So some of the stuff I'm going to go into on these prison stories, I'll take some questions for. Hello, Rocky. I'll answer your questions if that's what you want. I also will. Hey, Patty. I'll also just tell you some stuff that I went through and some stuff I seen. I mean, just a little of everything involved there. But I did put the poll out, and the stories said y'all wanted to hear some more, so I'll tell y'all. The first thing I just wanted to. There's a couple things people always want to know, especially if they've never. Hello, Dave. There's a couple things people always want to know when you've been to prison. Okay, so like obviously, like one of them is, how many fights were you in, or were you stabbed, and all those things. And then one of them is, did you ever do anything homosexual? Well, no, I've never done anything homosexual in my life. Prison, not prison, anything like that. So we'll just get that out of the way. About like being stabbed, I've never been stabbed. I have had a guy swing a knife at me, but it never connected. And I don't even know, his knife was pretty shitty knife, so it probably wouldn't even have stabbed me anyway. It just scratched me or whatever. I was in 12 years and 2 months. 12 years straight. I missed every day of my 20s. I went in when I was 19. I got out when I was 31. I was in a total of 7 real fights. I was in a couple little altercations. Yeah, of course I played craps in prison. I was in a couple little other altercations, but 7 real fights. I lost 6 of them. But I lost because they were not even. They were not equal fights. They were never one-on-one except for the one that I won. So I don't really consider them losses, but I did get beat up 6 times. Pretty good. Not like hospital beat up, but still roughed up. All of it was just over money, or some form of money in there, or whatever. So one of the things that a lot of people want to know too is, was I involved in a gang or anything? I was never involved in no gangs. I was affiliated with every race, every gang in there. Like, I dealt business. I was a businessman in prison, guys. I always had good jobs. I would work my way into good jobs, and so I was a hustler. And from outside, I was a hustler. So I just transitioned into prison. And I just turned it into businesses in prison, whether I was booking bets, whether I was bringing stuff back from like the front office area. When I was in maintenance, I was building tattoo guns, and I was always in business. And so since I wasn't, in any kind of affiliation with a gang, like specifically like a white supremacist gang, I dealt with everybody. And so I was a very valuable member of the convict community, as you would say, because I could get things, and I could do things, and I could make things happen. But another thing I was really good at is I was really good at picking and choosing my associates, I'll say, or the people I dealt with. I was really good at it. So out of all the times that I got in trouble, only one time did I ever get told on by a person that got me in trouble. All the rest of the times I got myself in trouble by making a mistake or something like that, getting caught up somehow. But so that was my thing in prison. So I was cool with a lot of people. I have good friends that even now, since I come out, and they're every race. That stuff never mattered to me because, hello Donald. Yeah, I was there a while, and just so we know, and I'll go back to that, guys, because I'm sure some of y'all don't know, but I robbed 2 stores at gunpoint when I was 19. I was a little thug when I was a kid, man. I was bad news. I was bad for people. I robbed 2 stores when I was 19, and I deserved every day I got in prison. I don't think I got too much time. I deserved every day I got. So the judges and everything did exactly right. So I don't have no hard feelings to none of that or anything. I earned every day I got. So nothing there. That's what I did. Obviously, you guys can look me up. You know my name. You can just look it up and you can check it out. Crap's thug, yeah. But yeah, so and that stuff's a long time ago. Oh man, whenever I get out there, I'm dealing with my wife's medical stuff right now, so that's kind of put a lot of stuff on hold. But I'm trying. Hello, ball. But anyway, so I'm gonna tell y'all a crazy story. I think I've told this story on the channel before. Thank you. I think I've told this story on the channel before, but this was probably my 2nd month in prison, maybe even my 1st month. But in Arkansas, a lot of the times the barracks are down one main hall, and there'll be barracks on both sides. And these barracks have big glass fronts, so you can see into the other barracks. Well, there was a guy in the other barracks that he was just freaking out about his girlfriend or whoever it was, some girl outside. You're in prison. You can't do nothing about what goes on out there. But this dude was losing his shit. He was freaking out about this. And so he breaks a razor out of the shaving razors, and this guy cuts his own throat on the stairs. Like, everybody in their barracks and everybody in my barracks can see this shit. And he's been freaking out, so everyone's watching him, because it's kind of like TV, And so you're just watching, what is this dude doing, And now he doesn't cut it deep enough to like kill himself or nothing. But when, you can't mutilate yourself in there. They lock you up for it. They put you in a box. And thank you, buddy. But yeah, so they come rushing in there, and he's bleeding every damn where. We're watching this from the other barracks, and obviously the people in his barracks are sent to their racks. They can't be around him now, and he's flopping around on the ground like he's dying and stuff. But he didn't cut himself deep enough to hurt himself really. But yeah, he's bleeding bad though, just because your neck bleeds. No matter if you cut an artery or not, it bleeds pretty good. And so this dude is just freaking out. And down the hallway, there's all this blood and stuff. Well, after 60 days, this guy gets let back out of the hole, and he gets stuck in the same barracks. So we're watching him again. He's still freaking out. And he takes and he goes, and they bring in the chemicals to clean the barracks. This dude goes and he drinks all 3 bottles of this, and they're like liter bottles. And he drinks all 3 bottles of these chemicals right there in front of the guards. And this moron, they make these chemicals at a different prison in the state, and they're all non-toxic. So he drinks these, and it just makes him sick. He's not gonna die or nothing. And so, but this was enough. They finally stuck him in the crazy wing of a different prison there in the state. But this dude was wild. He was goofy, and it was all over a girl, because we asked the guys in that barracks later on, and they said he was just freaking out over a girl. When you get so she's still gonna live her life, and realize that. But a lot of people never learn that, man. They hold on, and a lot of times women will string those guys along just because they don't want to hurt their feelings. They're already locked up. They don't want to hurt them, and so they string them along. But man, you really got to let that go. Anyway, so that guy, I never saw him again. But that was a while. I hadn't been in prison very long. You guys got to remember, I was in county jail for almost 2 years, so I'd seen some wild stuff in county jail too. Because I was in one of the roughest county jails in the country at the time. It's Benton County Jail here in Arkansas. It was actually on TV and stuff. But there's no hot food, nothing like that in the jail. It was a really, really shitty county jail to be in. So, I got some good county jail stories, but so that was one of the stories this was all like within my first month or my second month of being there, being at the actual prison system, so in the actual prisons. And yes, county's crazy, man, because prison's different. Prison's much different than county. Yeah, county's almost always way worse. Prison is like a home. You're going to be there a while, so it's kind of your home. I appreciate that. And you gotta accept that, man. When you get put in there, you gotta accept it. It takes some people a long time. Some people are pretty quick at it and they can accept it. But you're going to be there. Do I feel like prison rehabilitated me? Oh, I'm going to say yeah. But not in like the normal sense. What was that other question? Okay, I'll talk about the meals in a minute. Not in the normal sense. But being in prison, the thing, prison itself is easy, or it was for me. But it just sucked being in that cage all the time. You couldn't leave, the world was going on without you, and you were seeing, like, for example, guys, I went to prison at a really weird time. When I went into prison, there was no smartphones, and when I came out, everyone had smartphones. So, like, a whole bunch of stuff changed, like, when I went into prison, texting was brand new, and it was like $28 a letter or something. Yeah, you got to do it yourself. I mean, you got to rehabilitate yourself. And I'll be honest, guys, okay, so thank you. One of the things about being, if you're a real criminal, if you were really living that life and it wasn't just like a one-time thing where you just, you got crazy one time or something, but if you were a real criminal, that never goes away. So that never goes away. Those urges never go away. You just have to learn how to control it. And so once you learn that, hey, it's really not worth it, and you're accepting that it's not worth it to do those things anymore, it's easy to control it. But I'll be honest, guys, I've had lots of days where I've seen situations that when I was younger, I would have took advantage of. And I'm not gonna lie, I've felt the urges a few times. I'll talk about that right now. One time I walked in this little tiny bank, right? I was just trying to use an ATM, and they were counting out all this money on this counter. And man, I would be lying if I didn't think about taking that money from them. But obviously I controlled that urge, and I was like, whoa, where'd that come from? But it never goes away, man. That stuff never goes away. If you were really, really in the criminal life, it just never goes away. You just have to learn how to maintain it, how to control it. But anyway, so as far as rehabilitation goes, my wife was a big part of it. She helped a lot. I had a kid. Yeah. But so to the food question. Okay, so prison food in Arkansas is actually fantastic. Now, unless you just get to a bad place that just doesn't cook well, but prison food in Arkansas is really, really good. It's almost all grown here. Obviously, they bring some stuff in, but most of it is all grown here. They grow their own meat, their own vegetables. Arkansas is a farm state, so everything is fresh. It's good food. Now, don't get me wrong; they do have canned stuff and all that. I appreciate that, David. But so the food is great, but my favorite meal in the prison system was Sunday morning breakfast, because They had French toast and grits and sausage, and you could get all the juice you wanted. So I would sit there and drink grape juice because I like grape juice, and I'd drink grape juice and eat up all these French toast. I love the breakfast. And I got up, you see, breakfast is early in prison. It's 4 in the morning most places. But I would get up every morning and go to breakfast. I never missed breakfast. Now, a lot of times I wouldn't go to dinner, and I would just eat out of my own food, my commissary food, because I didn't want it, because I would be coming off work and I didn't want to go to the kitchen. But a lot of times too, guys, whatever unit I was at, the kitchen guys would owe me money. The kitchen guys would owe me money, so I would just have them bring me stuff. So if there was chicken, I'd have them bring me chicken, if whatever I wanted, because they owed me. So that was an easy way for them to pay without having to get into their commissary. They could bring me, 4 or 5 pieces of chicken, and it would be $5, something like that. And so I ate good. I'll be honest, guys, I did very easy prison time because I was really good. Well, this is one thing, okay? And I'm not saying that I'm brilliant or something, but I was a lot more intelligent than most of the guys in there. So I could manipulate them pretty easily. And I could get people to do things for me because I was good at hustling. But most of the time I worked in prison, guys, I was in the maintenance. I'm actually a pretty handy guy, but I worked in the maintenance shops most of the time. So when you work in the maintenance shops, a lot, you're involved a lot in the tattoo market, a lot building hiding spaces for people, going in barracks and taking apart lights so they can hide stuff. And everything in prison costs, guys. There's nothing in prison for free. Now, if you're cool with someone, you might hook them up or something, but everything costs. There's nothing for free. So if someone wanted me to come rig a light up for them, it is no big deal. I could do it. It might be $30. I might say, yeah, I'll rig your light for $30, and you'll be able to hide pretty much anything you want in there. And so there's just a lot. Everything costs. So if you ever go, remember that is not a myth. That is true. Nothing is free. So, but other than that, guys, other than that, like you guys, another thing, I've been out of prison for 7 years, so I've been out quite a while, and I've done well for myself in comparison to a lot of guys. I had a lot of help. I had my wife, and also I came out as a father. My son was born 1 month before I got out of prison. Right now, everyone's going, that ain't your baby. But it is my baby. My wife was a correctional officer, so that's a story for another day. But because I'm almost home. But so my wife was a correctional officer, and so she quit so we could be together and everything. But so that's a real thing. That does happen. But anyway, I'll tell that story another time. It's a longer story, and generally people think it's crazy, but I don't know. It's just what happens. Yeah, of course you have to. Thank you guys. I do stay in touch with people that I was locked up with. A couple. Thank you, David. Thanks, Haas. And yes, I committed crimes while I was in prison. That's absolutely true. Multiple times I had drugs on me, carrying them through the prison to people they had them. When I used to work in these front offices, and they would have their family come in and drop them off in the trash cans, and I'd go work them up, and I would put them. This is how I did it, guys. I was brilliant. So I'd get my commissary, and I'd get a bunch of big bags of chips that weren't see-through, and I'd bring them up front with me. And when you're a front office worker, you get a lot of leeway. They kind of trust you, and so I would open these bags really carefully, and then I would dump all the chips out, and then I would put all my stuff that I was bringing back in it. I'd put chips back on top of it, and I had a glue stick, and I'd reseal it, and I'd throw it back in this big bag of commissary with $40 other worth of stuff, and I would just walk right down the hallway with it, right in front of everybody, because it's in a chip bag. They're just looking at it's just commissary. You know, you're supposed to go get commissary. They generally don't stop you and search that stuff. And so that's how I did it. And I never told anybody how I did it, so I never got caught up. Oh yeah, there's tons of guards that are like that. So I'll tell that story another time about guards and how to approach guards, and it's tough. That's one of the trickiest things if you're going to be in business in prison, is dealing with the officers that are trying to be in business too. So because at any time they can just change their mind. So it's a real risk dealing with them. Where if you're dealing through the inmate system, through the convicts, they really can't fuck you over because there's consequences to that. Now for the guards, sometimes there's consequences too. If the money's right, if there's a right amount of money, there can be consequences for them too. You know, it just depends on how much money you're talking about. But again, guys, I'm almost to my house, but that's a couple little stories and some stuff about it. I have hundreds of stories, probably. I'll tell you all about all 7 fights if you all want. The one I won, I'm pretty proud of. I was proud of it. But I would say the hardest I've ever been punched in my life was in prison. I got hit so hard that I stumbled back we were in the boiler room of all places. I stumbled back for like 15 feet before I landed on a knee. That's how hard this guy hit me. And he was facing me. And this guy, I don't know how he hit me this hard, but it hurt. And it wobbled me. But yeah, so the guy's name was Dale Toohey. I'll never forget it. And he had like these big old massive arms. Yeah. And he hit me hard. I ended up winning that fight. That's the one fight I won. But I didn't win right there. Man, that hurt. I mean, when I finally, he could have won if he would have just pounced on me right there. But he stood back like I was going to give up. Well, I got my bearings and I went and finished it. But the first punch, he got that in and it rocked me. But anyways, guys, I'm at home. Y'all have a great day. I'll talk